Hello everyone and welcome back to my little art room. This was my first attempt at a bit of a longer vlog. I'm thinking of doing like monthly vlogs that cover a longer period of time. For various reasons, I think it'll work a bit better for me and produce a bit more of a video that has a bit more variety to it. But it also, I just think, works a bit better because it gives me a bit longer to film, a bit longer to edit. Because I've been stuck in a bit of a habit of like filming, editing, posting, and like sometimes it's surprising how you might go and film for like 2 days and feel like you put the camera on so much, but then like when you actually come to sit down and edit it, it doesn't actually result in that much screen time. It's just a shame that sometimes like I'll take some shots and then I feel like they kind of get a bit wasted because they just end up being like one different bit of a video where I'm just talking or something. It's kind of like the last one where I took some shots at the beach. I felt like I really liked those shots, but I ended up just kind of shoving them at the end because I didn't know really how to use them in the video. But all those things are still there for future videos. So, you know, they're not lost, but I feel like this way of making videos will help that too, because I'll have more clips to like use in different ways. For example, in this video, I started the very first stages of making a new zine, but like I would like to say, you know, after I've made the zine through a few vlogs, to do like a video that collates all that together so people could just watch the zine bit. So overall I just think this will hopefully work better. So in this video I went for a walk. I tried to do some drawing as well, but I got a little bit tired so I didn't actually do that much drawing. And then what else? I did some cooking as well, because I've been asked a few times would I do something like that. I mean, it's not a massively impressive meal, but like it was just to have a go at filming myself cooking, which was fun. And yeah, and then I also did a bit of drawing, and like I say, I started a little bit of writing the zine. And I think I might leave it at that for this vlog. I'm tempted to like do even more, but then I think I might maybe making it a bit too long-winded. I don't know. I'm also going to talk about some of my like favourite things, because I asked recently in my YouTube posts and on Instagram like if people had things they'd like to see, and it was actually really nice that a lot of the things people asked for to me felt pretty like everyday. Like it wasn't massive asks, it was like nice stuff. So I think it made me realise like I don't need to like overly stress about what to do on this channel, because I feel like people just really like the kind of slice of life style content. And to be honest, when I think about it, that's what I love the most too. Like people that I actually watch consistently, it's because I end up liking them and liking the way that they live or talk about things or whatever, and I just end up watching anything that they do. It's not like there's the odd video that I save and go, that was really interesting, that was really fascinating, on like a video essay or something. But I have to admit, I don't often go back to those people time and time again. So yeah, it was quite interesting. And yeah, I think it just made me kind of calm a bit about what to do for the channel, and to just generally film more if I can. So yeah, let's get to it. Drawing landscapes is actually something I very rarely do. I'm much more focused on characters and details, and even things like drawing rooms or inside environments. So drawing landscapes like this, especially like big open landscapes, it's very difficult for me to know where to start and how to approach it. But that's why it can be a really good challenge, and especially because I love nature so much, it's a good challenge for me to think to myself how I want to draw in nature, like what am I drawn to and what feels more manageable. But then it is also great to push yourself to draw things that at first you feel that resistance to. I think next time I'd maybe bring something with me that could create a bit more of a wash of shadows or something, like some watered down ink or something like that, because I think attempting this just with pencil was also really hard, even though I love pencil and I think it can do anything. Sometimes it was even harder, I think, because that's all I had. I started drawing some memorial flowers that were next to me because I was actually sat on a memorial bench which was placed here a few years ago. It's always like very well, you know, there's a lot of flowers on it and things at Christmas wreaths and things like that. But I don't know, I found something quite sad about these kind of wilting memorial flowers that were rustling in the breeze. Yeah. Honestly, I'd wanted to do quite a lot more drawing while I was out, but between the hot weather and still recovering from illness and filming and everything, I was quite tired by this point, and I was actually really struggling to have the motivation to draw anything. So a few people said to me, film in different rooms. And this is the very exciting kitchen. And I'm gonna make noodles. It's a very, very basic meal that I eat all the time, but I thought if I pressured myself to make something exciting, I probably would never film it. So we're just gonna film something really boring and basic that I eat all the time. So we start with rice noodles. I hate all the plastic in this world. They do say to only put them in like with the water off, but I like to boil it a little bit. I don't know why, I'm just like that. So then in here I've got, you can't fully see it, but mixed veg and frozen peas. The mixed veg is frozen too. I eat a lot of frozen veg. I just find it a lot easier to prepare and it helps me not waste food. Again, I hate the plastic, but there's a lot of plastic on, you know, fruit and veg anyway, so yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I put hot water on this just to get it thawing out so that when I'm cooking it, it doesn't take as long. I just prefer to do that. That's just what I do. Stuff that will be going into the noodles. This is very important. This will have a decent amount in it. This is low sodium bouillon. I say bouillon, but actually that can't be right, can it? Because it's got no I after the L. Bouillon. I don't know. It's like vegetable stock, but it's in a powder. And this was really helpful when I was ill because I get it generally, but this one's low sodium and I had an issue with sodium. It would make my vertigo worse when I was having a lot of the vertigo all the time. I'm slightly getting like okay with that now, so I'm gonna probably have a little bit of my miso paste, which is what I kind of had to replace a lot. But I'm also gonna put this in because it's reduced salt. I really find this helpful. And then I'm gonna put in garlic granules. I would normally put in garlic and fresh ginger, but this is my autistic brain. I'm just in a phase where I don't like the jars that I'm on, so I'm probably just gonna wait until I open new jars. That makes no sense. Chinese 5 spice. I will put this in all kinds of random things. I just like the flavours. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. I'll probably put a little bit of chili flakes in. Again, I like stuff to be as like long lasting as possible, so like I prefer to get chili flakes rather than like fresh chilies, you know. Coriander. I really like coriander. And then I always, these two I have in everything, smoked paprika. And I have hot paprika at the minute, but I wish I had sweet, to be honest, because I don't like this very much. But I don't have sweet at the minute, so I've been having, but smoked paprika, I have a real thing for smoked paprika, even though I actually don't like smoky flavours. It's really weird. I don't like smoked tofu or anything, but I like the combination. And the amounts of those, completely unknown, because I just throw it in. That's my approach to cooking. I just chuck stuff in. Oh, the tofu, where is that? Yeah, and then I'm putting in leftover tofu, which I cooked the other day, and that basically has a number of these spices on it. So yeah, that's that. I would sometimes do like a peanut butter or like some kind of almond butter or something in it, but I think I'm not going to do that today. I just fancy the regular kind. So I'm doing the noodles now. I like to do everything in one pot if I can, so I will just use the same pot rather than, so like once the noodles are done, I'll just pour them out for a minute. They'll sit in the plate and then I'll do the rest of it. And that's just how I cook. So yeah. I always think it's funny, like the teeny jar of miso paste that we have in UK supermarkets. You can get bigger things of miso in like proper food shops, you know, like Asian food shops for example, but you can't get much more than this in like Asda. And I tend to put this, I either put this in the bowl with hot water like when I've done my noodles, or because I'm probably going to make a broth in here, I will turn the heat off and then put this in. Because I hear it's not great for it to be boiled, like you lose some of the nutrients in it, or the microbes or whatever it has in it because it's fermented. Science. That's science. What can we say? I like a fair bit of water because it's more like a noodle soup, you know. This is a tiny teaspoon that commemorated the millennium 2000. I was born before 2000. I'm actually so shocked when people now are like, you're born after 2000? You know, people make that joke of like, when were you born? 19, and they're like, 19? I can't believe we've actually got to that point. I'm so old. So this is what it looks like at this point. Yeah, there you go. And I just let the tofu soak that up a bit. We can't decide if I'm happy or happy. Put a lot of peas in it, which is, it's fine because I love peas. And look, I'm pretty good with chopsticks, look. Anyone who's used chopsticks all their life is thinking, wow, well done. Actually, just one last thing, I do also love this stuff, nutritional yeast, by the same company that make the bouillon. This is like nutritional yeast flakes. I feel like if you've never been a vegan or had any dietary requirements, you would literally not know what the hell this stuff is. It looks like fish food, but it adds a lot of nutrients to your food, and I'm really used to it and I use it all the time. And so yeah, that bit of that will go on as well because I haven't had any today. Although I don't really like putting it in stuff like this because it kind of thickens stuff up, so I'm just putting a tiny bit in just in case I don't get the chance to eat any today. This was another attempt at drawing something very outside of my wheelhouse, and I was drawing this from a photo that I'd taken on the walk earlier that day that I really liked. and I actually ended up not liking the drawing very much. I actually think here at this point, when it was more simplistic, it was actually better. I think something I need to work on is how I want to reduce the detail and overwhelm that can be found in natural places. I think it's just that thing of finding how you can sort of translate something you're looking at into your own language, because I think when I'm observing something that I'm not really used to drawing, I get too stuck in the details and I don't kind of know how to bring my own voice into it. But it all comes with practice and trying things out. So I'm glad that I tried this and that I took on the challenge, but I do think I got too overwhelmed by all the little details and all the textures going on. And it lacked kind of my freedom of drawing. It was really on my mind, like, what do I want to make? What am I going to do? What thing first? And one of my most favourite things to do, and really popular things, is zines like this. The really classic folding zines, where basically you use one sheet of paper, you fold it a certain way, and you get like a little zine, and then you can open it out like this. And this is such a classic zine, but somehow it never ever loses its novelty. People always love it, and I think they just never stop being fun to make as well. A lot of people don't put anything on the inside, but I always like to do that. I also have a more elaborate one. Where is it? I actually can't find the finished one, but this was like the plan of it, and the video where I make this on TikTok is like one of my most viewed videos, where I make this one. This one I like planned out a lot more, and I did it on like 2 big sheets of paper, so that I could more easily reproduce it, because basically when I made this one, I was on a call with my friend, and we just really spontaneously, I picked from the Jar of Destiny, which I have spoken about before, which is just like random prompts, and it was fish and storm, and I literally just wrote this little tiny story and drew these fish, and it was done in like half an hour, and me and my friend were like, great. And then I put it on TikTok just for the fun of it, and it was like one of my most popular videos. I'd never had a video do so well. And loads of people were like, oh my gosh, I want to buy this, I want to buy this. And you don't have to ever sell anything just because people say. But bear in mind, like, I have a business that I don't mind admitting struggles very much. And so I was like, oh, it'd be great to sell it. But like, I had already drawn it on thick paper with all these creases in it. So there I was on Photoshop, which I don't now use because I don't like how much it costs, which I think is ridiculous, and they also support and promote AI all the time, and it really annoys me, so I got rid of Photoshop. Back then I did have it, and I was going through editing all these creases out. It took ages. I then spent ages trying to print it, which was really hard work, took loads of ink. That's another area where, like, I thought I would like printing my own artwork. When I started my business like 4-ish years ago, I was convinced, I was like, that's one thing, I 100% want to print my own work. I don't want to do external printing because you never know what it's going to be like, and I like control over it, and I want to test things out, and I hate printing my own stuff. And that's just one of those things you just don't predict. You don't always know what the reality is going to be like. And like, so my fine art printer, which cost quite a lot of money, sits there, and I don't like using it, but we don't actually have any other printer in the house at the moment. So I've been thinking of selling the art printer, but I don't have any replacement at all. Like, I'm gonna have to unearth it to print the plan of this scene in a minute. But anyway, I wrote this whole thing, but it's really quite long. It's quite long, so I don't know if it's gonna fit in a 1-page scene. but I'm going to attempt it. It's either going to work or it's not, and then we'll go, okay, what should we do? I'll put it in a different format. But yeah, I'm now trying to do Clip Studio. Why am I in Clip Studio? Why am I doing this to myself, starting a whole new software? Well, it's because I don't want to be married to Procreate and the iPad, because I don't like Apple and I don't think I would ever want to get another iPad. And there's also lots of other reasons, like making a comic digitally, I haven't enjoyed the full digital process. I've learnt a lot from it, but I don't like working digitally completely most of the time. So I like to draw traditionally mainly. So generally what I use these things for is colouring and things like that, and editing. So I prefer to do that on like a computer. And also it gives me a bit of distance. It feels like it's a bit of a bigger screen, and I don't have to rely on the iPad all the time. And so I'm going for it. And I also bought I rebought the brushes that I have from True Grit Texture Supply, where I get my kind of brushes that look quite a lot like felt tip pens, because I really like those. And I actually also did get, because it was on sale and it was really cheap, a zine effects thing, which maybe I will use today, but I don't know. But it was just, I just looked fun, and it was only like £5 or something. And then also I have a basic Wacom tablet that I bought on eBay for literally like £10, I think. So to me, secondhand. This robust, and so this in my mind will be my way of it's a bit dusty because I've been sat there for ages. This is how I'm gonna colour things. So I was just trying to think ahead, really, to when I did the digital comic, it made me think a lot about my process and how I wanted to do things going forward. So I kind of put things in place in advance, so that I didn't have to rely so heavily on my iPad. And if anything happens to it, I'm kind of already used to something else. So yeah, so I've done a plan on Clip Studio Paint, which I will show here. The colours are odd because I use everything in night mode at the moment because my eyes, right? So it just strains my eyes less. Can you see down there? If you see down here, these are the brushes, Colour Mark, that I use. So they're all there for me now in Clip Studio. And yep, and then this is the general plan. It's actually quite hard to see, but I've drawn lines where the center and the separations between the pages will be. And I would recommend, to make this easier, you want to make sure you're viewing the grid, and that when you set it up, hang on, I took it off now. When you set it up, let's see this. This is the most low-tech explanation ever. Most people would just duplicate their screen, wouldn't they, or whatever. What am I doing? And you see here, set your grid to center, and then it's easier to find your middle points because there'll be 0. Anyway, tech advice is not my strong point because I'm really crap at it, but we're going to see if somehow a million words fits on here. Let's see. So the zine already didn't fit into the folded zine format. To be honest, I feel like I could have predicted that from looking at it, but I'm not very good at visualizing composition, right? I have that trouble in general. So I feel like I just couldn't imagine whether it would fit or not, whereas some people might have looked at it and gone, absolutely, there's no way that's gonna work. But yeah, so I've ended up making it more into a booklet zine. So actually I've got one here. I think it will be a bit more like the format of this, where I had text along and then the drawings around it. But as a result, it has made me I'm not going to make it excessively long, but I'm still going to work on the writing a bit, I think, because there was just points where I was I feel like I slightly want to add a bit more there, or bridge a gap between 2 topics there. And yeah, take the opportunity now that it's going to be a bit longer to potentially make it a little bit of a lengthier piece of writing, but not a really long piece of writing. And yeah, in general, it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot, that I'd actually like to to write a lot more. I've been thinking about how, like, obviously I've got Toast in the Machine, which is my very kind of, I would say that's a very, like, classic comic, like, actually doesn't have any, at the moment, doesn't have any, like, words apart from dialogue. Like, there's no, like, inner voice or anything. I'm not saying there never will be, but in this one I just happened to do it that way, where it's, like, pure dialogue. And, you know, it's a classic, like, panel by panel, this is what's happening. And I've really enjoyed that for that story. But I feel like I'm just quite in the mood for something that is a bit of a looser format and that is more heavily writing. I think it's actually partly, like, just because where I am with my creativity at the minute, especially because I've been ill for such a long period of time and I'm still in that, like, recovery phase. Like, I'm not saying writing's easier. It absolutely isn't. But, like, when you're making a comic in, like, the classic panel by panel way, a lot of the time, like, you know, like how, for example, you could write maybe this much writing, but it could become, like, 6 pages of a comic. You know what I mean? They are just so work intensive. And again, I'm not saying, like, it's a different kind of work. I'm not saying, like, writing is easier, because it's not. But it feels like I could tell more stories and, like, say more with a little bit less strain on me for now. And also I really like writing. Like, I like that different way of storytelling. Yeah, one of the things I really like about writing as well is, like, I like when I can read something out as just art, like, you know, someone could just listen to it and understand what's happening. Like, I love, obviously, the visual element, that's why I love comics, but I also like reading and as very much as well. So, like, for me, this kind of loose format of really highly illustrated writing is also very appealing, because it has that visual element, but it can still be understood just as words as well. And actually, an example of this that I recently read is this book, Walking Distance by Lizzie Stewart. And I think I actually want to get the other book, Alison, because I think that's more of a full story, like, it's a lot longer than this. This isn't really a story, this is more kind of like thoughts, if that makes sense, thoughts on things. I think I will like that because that has this loose format as well, but it actually also has, like, panel comic moments too, where there's, like, say, dialogue in the comic. Yeah, this is a good example. Like, can you see how there's a lot of, can you see it? Is it a bit bright? Can you see how there's, like, a lot of writing, but then there's also a lot of illustration, and, like at times, like, little panel illustrations as well. And there's pages that are, like, full, you know, full illustrations, and there's pages that are much more heavily writing. And I think that, you know, that kind of fun playing around with that format is something I'm very interested in, because it's almost like making an adult picture book, isn't it? Where you've got, like, that, it's more than a book that has, you know, an illustration every 20 pages. It's more illustration than that, but it's maybe not so, like, visually driven as, well, no, what am I trying to say? Do you know what I mean? Like, if at one end we've got, like, you know, manga and traditional comics and things like that, where it's very, like, the art is telling the story primarily, and then you've got at the opposite end, like, a book with no pictures whatsoever, and then you've got stuff that has, you know, illustrations every 20 pages, and then you've got stuff that's, like, you know, we get into graphic novels, and you know what I'm saying? I think I'm interested in that in between at the minute, and seeing what would happen with that. I just feel like it feels a bit more freeing, and a bit less pressure to, like, convey everything directly with the art, is maybe what I'm getting at. And that feels nice at the minute. And I've also just, I don't know, I've just been in the mood for writing recently. It's just been on my mind a lot. And it feels a bit intimidating, like, trying to find my voice in writing. I almost thought to myself, like, why do you do this, Sam? Where, like, you try and do, like, 15 things and then you're like, right, another thing that I can go back to square one with. I don't know why I'm like that. But, like, actually, I'm not completely at square one with writing, because when I was at university, I was a songwriter, primarily. So I was used to writing lyrics, and it's funny actually when I was writing this scene, I was thinking how in a way I always see things quite rhythmically. Like when I'm reading the writing, it's like I think to myself, well, it can't end there because it doesn't feel right, like the rhythm's not there. And I think that's because of my past in songwriting. And I think a lot also about like the endings of things, what note you leave things on. Like that's very important to me, even in a very short piece of writing. And also, like whenever I used to write lyrics, I always used to quite like to combine like pretty sounding lyrics and very mundane and almost clumsy lyrics, because I really like that contradiction, and I've always liked that actually. In general, I love when two very different things come together. You know, when I'm reading stories or I'm writing or it's my own thing, I love combining like serious hard-hitting things or like, you know, quite, I don't know, like abstract things and things that are very everyday, mundane. Because I think life's often like that, you know, that's what life is like to me. It's this really strange duality of, you know, on an individual level and on a world level, like all these profound things happening, frightening things happening, really intense things happening. You know, like as I make this video, there's so much happening, awful things happening in the world, and yet all these mundane everyday things still happen alongside it, and it's really strange. And on a basic level, it's like, I was thinking it's kind of like, I don't know, losing someone you really care about, being at their funeral, and then going to your car and you've got a parking ticket, and you're like, for God's sake, I've got a parking ticket. You know what I'm saying? It's things like that, like all the little everyday things and the funny things and the silly things that are right next to all the really, like, not always terrible things, but like just very almost otherworldly things, but very, very real things in the same way. So I've always liked that combination. I think that's why I like I said, I like to talk about mental health very much. And it's like with Toast the Machine that I'm making, like on the face of it, it seems quite lighthearted, but there's actually a very, you don't know this massively yet, but there's actually really quite a heavy backstory to these characters, and things like that, and quite heavy topics that are going to come up. And yeah, I just find that really fascinating and interesting to explore two things that feel very opposed but are actually very, very commonly together. So yeah, my lyrics were like that as well. I remember my lecturer saying to me that I even started a debate in the office because with one of my songs from my final album, which was all about birds, every song had a song about birds, like there was a lyric where it was about magpies and I said something like her teeth shone like diamonds, and people were debating like whether it was just a really crap lyric or like I was actually doing something clever. Like in my mind though, I was like, well, I've won, because that's the point. Like to me that was the point, is that I deliberately would put in these like really clumsy kind of bad lyrics in a way to like offset these like really poetic things, because I like that. There's something about it that I like. Almost people going like, oh, that's a bit naff. Like I feel like almost it's like when I was writing this scene, I was thinking I need to add more to it because it's verging on pretentiousness. Like I don't like pretentiousness, and I think there's a kind of a specific thing where you're trying to talk about serious things but still keep it down to earth, and that's what I'm struggling with, I think, at the minute with the zine. But I'm very interested in it. I've been thinking a lot about like stories I want to tell. So someone suggested that I do like favourites of things, you know, favourite media, favourite books of, you know, however much time, and I think this works for this really well because it can be like favourites of March. And I'm also going to include a few things that kind of were pre-March because this is the first one I've done, and you know there were some things that I still thought about. So there might be more in this one than there will be in the next ones. Something that I read, Spy Times Family Volume 4, mentioned this quite a lot, that I like this manga. And manga's just been a bit easier, and comics are a bit easier for me to read at the minute because I have been able to read a bit more recently, but like not really consistently. And yeah, I feel like I just know what I'm gonna get when I read this manga. Like I know I'm gonna probably like it, I know it's gonna keep going and be interesting. So yeah, liked it. I really liked a dog character comes into it in this one. I really liked that. I liked the character design of the dog. I thought like, you know, this big fluffy dog was, it just works. And yeah, I quite liked this volume. I feel like I need to reread it, all these volumes, to actually know which ones I really like more, because it kind of all ends up blurring together in your head. But something that I really like about manga and comics, and part of the reason why I like making them and why I like making, like, even if I got into writing more, I feel like I would keep to like fairly short books, and I often seek out decently short books, as well as longer form things, because I love longer form as well. But I like the rereadability, you know? I really like things that you can revisit time and time again, and that have that, like, I don't know, that you can just get through, not in absolutely ages of time. And I just think that's nice. It's the way you can build a connection with something, because you become quite familiar with it through that revisiting it. Oh yeah, a TV show that's been talked about quite a lot in the UK at the minute, Small Profits. It's a BBC TV show. I'd say I don't know actually how I would describe it. It's like a comedy, but got a kind of fantasy, strange element to it. And yes, I was really impressed by it. It's written by a person called Mackenzie Crook, who I admire quite a lot. I really like the way that he writes stories. I was reading quite a lot of what people said about the series, and I think I totally agree that he has this way of writing things very empathetically. Like, he sees the humanity in people that he writes, rather than, you know, the opposite. Someone actually described him as like the antidote to cruel comedy, and I feel like that's really a great way to talk about it. He also wrote the series Detectorists, which I really like, and also the children's TV show Wurzel Gummidge. I've mentioned both of those in my Q&A because I really like them. Very intriguing, and poignant as well. And he has this way of crafting, I feel like, very simple moments that still have a really profound impact. So yeah, I find the way that he writes and brings stories together really inspiring. So yeah, it will continue on. I don't know if it's going to be another series or how it's going to continue on, but it'd be very intriguing to find out, because I actually didn't know that going into it, that it was going to carry on. So we'll see what happens. I wanted to mention a rare film that I watched. I actually watched this at Christmas. I'm honestly not much of a film watcher at all. I want to get more into films, but I haven't watched a film in ages, actually. And I watched one, this was on Netflix. Part of the reason I'm mentioning it is because it is accessible. And it was called 10 Dance. And it was a really chill, like, Christmas watch, I thought. It was not necessarily inherently Christmassy, but it's quite wintry. But it's about two ballroom dancers. One who's really good at ballroom, like traditional ballroom, and the other guy is really good at, like, Latin and all that kind of thing. And so they're kind of like complete opposites, and they agree to like help each other with the things that they're bad at, which is like the opposite for each of them. And so it's kind of like it feels a bit rivals to lovers, I'd say, but then at the same time they're not actually rivals in that moment, so it's more like opposites attract, I would say. But yes, yeah, they fall in love as well. And I really like stuff about dance. I have a bit of an interest in watching dance. And opposites attract is my absolute favourite dynamic in romantic media. It's not my absolute favourite romance I've ever watched, but I did find it interesting, and I liked the vibes, and I think it achieved quite a cool atmosphere for the length of a film. I'm really used to watching series, so it feels really short to me. Like, films feel quite short. But I quite enjoyed it, yeah. And also, it made me laugh that they mentioned going to Blackpool, right? Because Blackpool is actually quite a home of ballroom dancing, genuinely. But like, because I live near Blackpool, it's not seen as a highly romantic place. But they did these beautiful, like, shots of it. I don't know if the actors ever actually went there, but like, I get the feeling they didn't, but like, they did these shots of it, and I thought, I've never known Blackpool look so like aesthetic in all my life. Like, it was impressive that they managed it. And I think I hope there's going to be another film, because it kind of, I don't want to ruin it, but it's kind of not completely finished at the end. But yeah, I liked this concept of like two very different people finding a way to like even each other out. There was something really good about that, and that's part of the reason I really like opposites attract, because actually one of the things I really like about it is, for me, it's about actually, often what they are opposite in is something actually quite arbitrary, and what they find is that they connect on levels that are more important. So like, I don't think opposites attract is actually about two polar opposite people in fundamental ways. I think it's often about people that you just might on the surface not see going together at all, but then actually they find that common ground and they find that way that they actually work really well. And yeah, I just find that it comes up a lot in media opposites attract, I think, and I always really like it. I should have said it's Japanese. Did I say that? So if you're not cool with reading subtitles, or you can't for whatever reason, then it's not great. Oh, I was also just going to mention that for Christmas when Dad got me Despicable Me 4. Can you believe we're on 4? I actually quite like Despicable Me, right? Because I'm a 12-year-old at heart, right? And but like my opinions are kind of like, the first one's great, the second one's third one no. Like not terrible, but just I think these aren't as good. And then this one, I was like, this is going to second place to me in my mind, because I actually really enjoyed it. And it was just fun. Like when my dad gave it to me, I was like, I laughed about it, I was like, oh my god. But then actually really enjoyed it. So yeah, considered it quite good. Oh, I actually do rank things, so I should have done my proper rankings actually. Let me just... So yeah, actually just consulting my little book, I ranked Small Profits 8.3 out of 10. I will say my scoring system is fairly what's the word, generous. I don't tend to rank things below 5 unless they are almost like I really disliked them. Which doesn't totally make any sense, but you know, I'd like to keep below 5 for like, oh my gosh, it was terrible, but I don't know if I'd even get through it if it was that bad. And then, what were the others? 10 Dance I rated 8.4 out of 10. And Despicable Me 4, I unbelievably rated 8.3 out of 10. So only one below 10 Dance, which is actually quite insulting, I think. I feel like it wasn't actually that good, okay? Just very different things. Bear in mind, it's about my enjoyment levels. It's not about critical thought, okay? That reminds me, actually, yeah, I did also watch a National Theatre live production because it was free on YouTube for like a week. So I watched that last week. I think you can actually see me, I think I was actually drawing while watching it. And it was the importance of being in earnest. I ranked that 7.6 out of 10. Because I really liked it. I thought it was really interesting. But it's one of those things where a lot of it is dialogue and not that much actually happens. And I'm someone, I like a little bit more to happen in something. But it was funny, and the delivery was brilliant, and the acting was really great. It was fun. I liked it. And I do think the actors added a lot to the enjoyment of it, like the way they, you know, said it all. Oh yeah, the reason you might think, but Sam Bridgerton came out, why haven't you mentioned that? I mean, I watch Bridgerton mainly so that I can converse with my other friends about it, because I like to chat about TV. I ranked it 6.4 in there. I really liked elements of it. I really liked Fran's storyline. I really like the character of Fran. She's very autistic coded. I am waiting. I have done my time. I'm waiting for her storyline. And someone said to me, like, I've had multiple people say to me they're not going to do it as a proper series. And I'm like, why wouldn't they? Because every other couple has had a book. So you're telling me now they can't have a series. Why? They have a book as well. I'm going to hit the roof. But anyway, it's not that big of a deal. But yes, I did watch Bridgerton. It was okay. I really liked some parts of it. I like some characters. Other bits. The trouble is I've never loved, what's he called? What's the one in this one? Benedict? I've never loved him really, so I'm not here for it. I did just want to also mention that a YouTuber I've really enjoyed recently is Honey Bunch of Onion Tops. Makes videos about being autistic, low energy, also is a like recipe, makes cookbooks, you know, and designs recipes for people with all kinds of like dietary requirements. So really like their videos, very, again, quite slice of life, calming, relaxing. And actually, there was a video on like accommodations that they do like 50 or something. I might do a video like that. I think that would be quite interesting. I actually wrote a long list of mine and it was getting extremely long. But I think that would be quite interesting because also sometimes my mum tells people she knows like, oh, my daughter's autistic and you should watch her videos if you're autistic, because she happens to meet quite a lot of autistic people. And then I always feel like, well, there aren't actually that many videos where I talk about being autistic like that directly all the time, but then I feel like I talk about it in bits all the way through. So some more videos directly about that would be quite interesting. So yeah, really liked the videos of Honey Bunch of Onion Tops. Very chill, very enjoyable. Final, just music. So I don't always listen to that much music, but I did listen to a fair bit of Marina / used to be Marina the Diamonds. Got obsessed with the song Starring Role. I don't know why. And I also listened to Conan Gray quite a lot. There was like an era early like March, end of February, where like I needed upbeatness. And yeah, I really like Conan Gray. I go back to his music all the time. That's like, so like them two, they're kind of like, I might not seem like someone that listens to like a ton of like pop music, I suppose, but I do. Those things. And who else? But then recently I have been listening to, which feels a bit more on brand for me, Sufjan Stevens again, because I love Sufjan Stevens. I hope I'm saying that right. I love his work, and I was actually listening more to one of his oldest albums, Carry On Lowell. Yeah. Very sad music for when you want to feel sad, when you want to feel, you know, whatever. But yeah, I was in a kind of like coming of age vibe. I don't know. I was like looking at pictures like that and thinking about films like that, and you know, greens and reds and running through the fields and whatever. And yeah, I was listening to Sufjan Stevens and thinking about the summer, and yeah, I really like that music. Also, obviously with the zine, I was talking about Nick Drake quite a lot. I really love Nick Drake, but I actually didn't listen to it that much recently. I was wanting to listen to it in the car, but then my car broke down, so, you know. My car is probably going to be fixed soon because my dad's got the battery now. It was a dead battery, which didn't, like, that was pretty much what we thought it would be. So, yeah, those are some favourites. That went on for a long time. I think I'm going to make this video ridiculously long though, so it's fine. Because I think I like long videos, actually. So, there we go. I think long videos are fun. And, you can just put them on and have them on for ages, and you don't have to go, oh, what am I going to watch now, what am I going to put on now? You can just ramble on, let me ramble on in the background. That's all I ask, please. My shop is now up again. That's another thing. My shop's open again. I'm not currently shipping to the US because I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. Whether I want to charge or make it awkward for you at customs, or I don't know what to do. And then someone messaged me like, oh, we're having real trouble sending anything you send internationally now, you have to send it as a small parcel. The mail system is just terrible. And yeah, small businesses always get the worst of it. Still not shipping to the EU because there's really annoying rules about it. Can't afford the stuff you have to do to sort it out. So basically, if you're in the UK, Australia, Japan, the UK, outside of the EU, then please have a look. Thank you so much for watching this very first March vlog. And hopefully I will keep consistent with it now. And I will see you for more summery adventures as the weather hopefully gets better. Okay. So yeah, that's the end of that. So the vlog's over. Well done, everyone. We've got to the end. And hopefully see you next time. I've run out of brain power now. Over. Okay. Bye. Page format. Is it 6 page? whereas like this is like a lot of like writing and stuff. I'm struggling to explain things. It just strains my eyes less. So yeah, down here you can see the oh no, can you see that? You can't see what's going on. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching this first March vlog. And oh god.